Hi, everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of Breaking Through the Glass Ceiling. I've been wanting to start a podcast literally forever. I just haven't had the motivation or confidence, ironically, to do this. But I've been thinking of making a series where I talk to a lot of my badass girlfriends about their career and their life stories, how they got into what they're doing, sharing some of the struggles that they face to show that a lot of career paths are not linear and that often it doesn't come without adversity. So, with that being said, I'm super excited to have our very first guest on here, which is Emily. Emily and I went to business school together. We just graduated from the Ivy HBA program at Western University. And Emily also has her own YouTube channel where she does lifestyle and career advice content. So please check it out. I'm so excited to have you. We can start off with some introductions. If you want to just give a brief intro about yourself, we can take it from there.
Yeah, thanks so much, Sophie, for having me. Hi, everyone. My name is Emily. I'm a recent graduate from the Ivy Business School. I would say, yay, we did it. I would say that I'm very passionate about brand management and consulting as my career paths. And I love being creative. I'm getting involved in my community and spending time with family and friends. So, really excited to be here.
Yeah, oh my God, super excited because you're literally the perfect first guest. The first thing I want to learn about is just your journey, like overall, how you got into your field. I know like you're starting full-time work soon, and like why you chose to study business.
Yes, that's a great question. I would say that when I was applying for university, I was really uncertain about what I wanted to do, like a lot of other students my age. I really had to consider not only what courses uh, I had available for like different requirements for different programs, but also what would really interest me and align with my skill sets. So growing up, my parents really wanted me to do like med, but I just felt like I wasn't really passionate about it. I wasn't like enjoying sciences that much. And I really wanted to do business because I felt like it not only allowed me had so many niches like finance and accounting and marketing, but it was a great way to just learn how to build like different soft skills like public speaking, communication, collaboration in the most actionable ways. So that's why I really wanted to pursue this degree.
Yeah, I know you mentioned parents really wanted you to go into med. When you decided to choose business, was there any sort of like pushback from people in your immediate circle?
Yeah, I would say that there was like pushback from my dad. My mom was like more chill, but my dad was like, do you think like you'll be able to like find a job when you graduate? Like what are like the job prospects like? Like he was very interested in like getting a lot of details and making sure that I was sure about it, which I did really appreciate. So after like some back and forth discussion like that, he was like, okay, if you really want to do this, then go ahead and try it out. So that's what ended up happening. And I also got accepted to Ivy Business, which I was really excited because it's a top business school in Canada, but also Ivy is known for its like case style learning, its close knit community, and its prestigious companies that students get placed in. So I felt like it was a good combination of outcomes.
Good, yeah. Were you in DECA or like any business related extracurricular when you were in high school? Like, did you have exposure before you got in? Because I had like barely any exposure. I did DECA, but I honestly didn't know how broad business was.
Yeah, I feel like I also did DECA. I feel like every person did like DECA and like HOSA. I actually also started like my own kind of like nonprofit, like student nonprofit.
Yeah, period.
Yeah, just like teaching students. It was called like it was business oriented though. So it was hosting like different events with business speakers in different fields, webinars, like giving students like tips on how to get into different business programs around Canada. So that was like a good way for because I feel like when I was trying to run that organization, I had to like do a lot of research into these kind of things to like speak about it to other people. And then aside from that, just like I guess also I actually didn't do like my first case competition until university. So before that, I guess it was mainly just like that nonprofit of mine and then DECA, which were more like business focused specifically.
My next question for you is, did you have any mentors or like people that supported you along the way, whether that's like in high school before you started the business program or like at Western?
Yeah. Hmm. I think I wish I had like an older sister to guide me, but I'm the older sister. I'm like helping with all like the advice and like doing all the guiding. I would say, like, honestly, probably, like, my mom, was,
Okay.
like, a big, like, figure in my life just because she also, like, immigrated from Asia, to, like, a whole new country where, like, she couldn't speak the language. She had to, like, start from the bottom, from scratch, and, like, all these things, like, build a future for me and my sister, and so that we could have, like, something we could, like, experience, like, just, like, living in a country with all these opportunities. So, she's really taught me, like, I guess, the importance of, like, resilience and perseverance and being, like, goal-oriented, I think.
Yeah. No, I think coming from an immigrant family too, there are like so many things you kind of have to figure out on your own that your parents might not have full experience with. Super glad to like hear you share your story. My mom never worked in corporate. She just wasn't someone I could lean on for support, which is totally fine because I'm grateful it all worked out and I was able to find other resources, but I feel like it's just so different. Brings me on to my next set of questions. I would love to learn about any challenges you faced or like if you're comfortable sharing any failures from your university experience where you just like didn't know what would happen.
Yes, I think that's a great question because sometimes I guess for like someone on the surface, it seems like everything's going perfectly, but inside there's like so many like hidden struggles that no one sees. Like for me, going to university, my first failure was actually just like my first exam I did. I don't think I was ready, like recovering from COVID and just like having an exam worth 40% of my grade. I got like a 70 on it. I was like so upset. I thought I wasn't used to, like, getting those marks as, like, a 90 plus student from high school, and then I was worried I was gonna lose my AEO status. AEO status, like, is basically you have to maintain 80% in your first 2 years to get into IB in 3rd year. So that was, like, my first, like, failure, I think, that I had to, like, bounce back from and, like, rework my study habits for. Career-wise, I feel like I've also had, like, my fair share of failures. I think my first year, I felt like I was really behind. I wasn't really thinking about, like, careers and stuff. Like, I have high school students, like, in their grade 12 year already, like, reaching out to me and coffee chatting me to ask about, like, internship advice and stuff, and I'm like, "That's crazy. I never did that."
Oh my god, no, that's so real. I like swear I didn't even know what an internship was in high school. Like I had no idea, especially during COVID. Like I did not know. I feel like there were so many things I didn't know about the corporate world that I had to kind of just learn when I got thrown in the deep when I luckily landed one in like second year. But I didn't even know it was a full-time job. I didn't know I had to turn my camera on to speak to people. So many shocks. I don't know if you feel the same way, but corporate
Yeah.
is like a game and you need to like learn the rules before you get in, but I feel like school doesn't always have the best resources to teach you how to succeed in the corporate world, let alone also do other things like start your own business.
Yeah, that's so fair. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would say that for me, it was like I felt like behind in that sense in my first year. I think it wasn't until like quarter after second semester started that I was really searching for an internship for like my first year summer. And I felt like a lot of pressure on myself just because like I was speaking with other people who were like, we landed, like I have this job at like RBC, I have this job at like the government of Canada. So I felt like it just had a lot of pressure on myself. And then that summer I didn't land like kind of like an SEO like marketing role at like Staples Canada, which was really fun, but I still felt like something was missing there in the sense that it didn't feel like that like fulfilling um in terms of what I wanted. So I wanted to like keep on searching the next summer and I guess like when I was searching, I wanted to like try more of like the consulting side of things. And then that was like in my second summer I did consulting. In my 3rd summer, I kind of went to brand management because I wanted to keep on, like, exploring, like you said, and trying out, like, different career paths. I thought brand management would be a lot more creative and allow me to, like, stay focused on, like, one project, get really rooted in, like, specifics for one company's products, whereas, like, consulting, you're always working on your clients like different needs and it's constantly changing. So I wanted to kind of like see like the other side. So it was really great to be able to kind of experience like all those different paths. Definitely like a lot of transferable soft skills between them, but small things that I noticed that were different between each.
Yeah, and you're working in consulting, right? For your full-time role. What made you want to land in consulting? What's the process and mindset behind that?
Going into like consulting, I would say that when I was trying out brand management, my summer of my 3rd year, I was really excited, but I think one thing I didn't really expect from it was, and it might have been company specific, but it was very data heavy. So there was not really a lot of, like, campaign work, not really, like, the creative side of things. It was super data heavy, and I just felt like I didn't really resonate with that. I also felt like I needed, like, more time to really become an expert in, like, their data and using their company data to, like, make decisions, which I felt like 3 months wasn't enough time for. So, in the end, like, they didn't have hiring needs, but at the same time, I felt like maybe I wasn't a good fit for the job either. And I actually have, like, a whole video on my YouTube channel actually talking about this and, like, just, like, my experience in my 3rd year internship and how to, like, deal with maybe not getting an offer to go back. But I would say that I feel like it also was a good thing because it pushed me to kind of re-recruit and look for something that could be more suited for my needs, my skills, and I ended up deciding on consulting because I felt like I still missed the challenge of the problem solving, being able to be more collaborative, and having that good, like, balance between not just data, but client work and creativity, like, all mixed together.
Oh my God, super congrats on your new role. I'm so excited for you. When do you start?
I start in 2 weeks.
When I upload this, maybe you probably will have already started because it probably will take me a while.
Today's, like, Tuesday, July 15th, and then so this is, like, my 2nd last week off, and then next week it would be my last week off, and I'm actually going to New York for, like, a quick trip before I start. I land, I have, like, 2 days to rest, and then I start work.
How does it feel starting full-time work so soon? For me, it's over a year away, but you don't get breaks as easily and it's kind of like real, I guess. You are committed for a while. How does it feel for you?
It feels really surreal. Like, I think everyone watching this, if you're a university student, please enjoy it because it's the best, like, time of your life. You have so much, like, just flexibility in your schedule, and nothing's really, like, that deep, that serious. Like, if you get a bad grade or whatever, it's so capable of, like, working around, but I just feel like in the corporate world, there's so much more pressure. Like, if you make a mistake, it could, like, I don't know, cause the company to lose, like, millions of dollars in profits. The outcome I realized and, like, the things you do in, like, corporate just are a lot more, like, intense and high pressure, I feel like.
Yeah, no, heavy on enjoy every single university experience because it goes by genuinely so fast. And I didn't value like how free summers are. You just will not get that when you go into full time. Like you're gonna have to take, like, you can't take a 4 month vacation for the first little bit, kind of grind time if you do decide to do corporate. Going back to a point you said about like CPG being so data heavy, like totally relate to that. I feel like for a lot of internships, it's hard to actually feel like you're adapting to everything completely. They usually say it takes around 6 months for someone to feel fully acquainted with all the resources and the tools to actually start making like valuable output. So as an intern, you're literally doing all of that in half the time and like expected to exceed expectations. So it's tough.
Not just like you have to meet expectations and it's fine, you have to exceed, and it's just, like,
Yes.
crazy.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like at Amazon, we're evaluated on whether we raise the bar or not. So definitely a lot of pressure. And I think that's the tricky part about corporate. You're always expected to just do better and better and better. And the bar just keeps getting higher. And people are so talented and smart. But anyway, thank you so much for sharing your challenges. Super cool story. Our next set of questions is just about your key takeaways, like what you've learned, advice you have for others, or anything you would do differently based on your own experience if you haven't.
Such a good question. I think one thing that I've learned is, like, confidence, especially as a female. It's not like something you wait to do or you learn. It's something that you have to build by consistently showing up, advocating for yourself, and making sure, like, your voice is heard. Be confident in, like, what you're saying and don't let anyone's, like, else's looks or questions kind of, like, bring you down or make you question yourself, because I understand how, like, trying to recruit in this kind of industry is so hard, but especially when you're, a minority group, and especially when your voices might not always be heard compared to, like, for example, like, a white male, like, to put it blankly. And also, something else for all the students out there is to not limit yourself to one thing. To always keep your options open, always be open to trying new things. I would say for me, another regret I have that I don't think I talked about earlier was in my second year, I got accepted to this program called WAM, Women in Asset Management, that's offered at Ivy. And I decided not to take it because I was like, I don't see myself going into like asset management or doing finance or anything of that sort. But I wish I had taken it just to like give myself the chance to explore that kind of opportunity because it's not like forever. It's like a very short period of time in a 4 month or 3 month internship. So I felt like that was kind of like an opportunity I missed out on. I'll never know if I'm like well suited for a finance position or not. So like, don't limit yourself. Don't like categorize yourself into like one specific category. And last piece of advice I would have is to seek out people who will like say your name in the rooms that you're not in. So mentors, friends, coworkers, people who will people who will like even when you're not there, they're gonna speak for you and advocate for you. And that's so important because you're not always gonna be there to speak for yourself and to add credibility to your voice. So I'd say those are like the three main top tips I have for like young university students right now.
Oh my God. Thank you, Emily. What you're so well spoken because people do need to say our names in the rooms that we're not in. Overall, did you enjoy your HBA experience? Yeah.
Yeah, overall, it was really fun. I really liked, especially HB1, where we got put in like sections. I got really close with like, everyone in my section. We got to go to like Blue Mountain, Niagara Falls. That was so much fun. We hosted like charity events, contests. We went to our version of prom. So many like events, and I don't have a single regret about doing H.
It's definitely an experience of a lifetime. I think to wrap this up, I'm just going to ask some like random fun questions. If you could have one superpower in the world, what would you have?
Oh, that's such a good question. I would love the ability to time travel. I would want us to like see the future, to like see what's like
That's such a good response. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. I was like going to say invisibility, which is so generic, but
we could
time
like
travel is real.
rob the bank, like be invisible. They'll never catch you.
Yes, I can like eavesdrop on what people are saying, like gossiping about. But yeah, time traveling's good. I would actually want to go to the past. Back when I was in like middle school, I feel like life was so simple back then, and I would love to go back.
Or you could like go back and be like, buy Bitcoin now. Like tell everyone when to buy whatever stocks.
Exactly. I would have gotten Apple stock back then, and I would be rich now and maybe not have to work corporate. Just kidding. It's not that bad. Anyway, that wraps up our very, very first episode. I'm so glad we did this. I feel like we got to talk about some really important things and got to hear, the behind the scenes of your story and how you got to where you are. I look up to you so, so much. So I'm super glad that you're able to yeah. But yeah, thank you so much, Emily. Once again, Emily does have a YouTube channel where she goes more in depth with like career advice and makes super cute lifestyle videos. So definitely please check that out. But until then, I'll see you guys next time.